Now, starting off, we are going to be covering the new biome today and all of the new information that we get with this update, which will be coming on the 1st of December. So if you would like to see more Stranded Alien Dawn, then do make sure that you subscribe. But what is coming in this update? Well, surprisingly, despite it being quite soon after the early access release, we have quite a chunky update. So first of all, we have a new desert biome starting spot called Desertum. And so this is going to have hot deserts dominated by dunes, oases, and dry riverbeds. And along with the hot desert, you also have to be warned that it's going to get very cold at night. And then the next thing that we've got is we can look at moons. So we do have 3 new moons that have been added to Stranded Alien Dawn. Now these 3 moons refer to how attacks happen in game. So that's waves of attacks from the aliens. So first up we have Jason, which is the one that rises above our survivors, and what it does is give us more time in between the battles, but at the same time will give us more of a challenge for each battle. So you may want to go with this one if you think you can be prepared enough for a big challenge ahead of you, but don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to repair your base, ready for the next one. The next one we have is Nyx. Now this is the goddess of the night. This affects how the waves are done. Generally speaking, you'll only have them attack during the nighttime hours, so make sure that you're prepared for that. If you're using that, you're going to want to have torches around your base so that any ranged combatants have that bonus for shooting. And then we have Chaos. Now Chaos is totally unpredictable in this game, so you need to try and prepare as best as you can for any kind of attack at any time. The other thing that's changed off of here is we also have different game difficulties. So originally we had easy, medium, and hard, and that now they've given us very hard, which of course removes the laser gun first and foremost, as well as the scrap, and also halves our emergency rations and first aid kits. And we also have insane, which just leaves us with 5 emergency rations. And as for game modes, we have Peace First, disables aggressive animal attacks. So this is great if you want to do a build series, which we probably will, to be honest, because I love doing my building, but it's always nice to have some enemy attacks as well. And we also have random survivors. Now this means that when we start the game with our cast of survivors, they're going to be randomly selected on the seed that we select. So we're not going to be able to pick and choose the best team or always work with the best team. But if we do this, there is a bonus that all of the survivors capable of combat have a railgun sniper. That is actually pretty incredible. I kind of want to go with that, but we're not going to, because if we go back to here and press next, our next thing to talk about is the new survivor, who is Sora. Sora grew in the caves of a hostile, lawless desert world. She joined the local militia to protect her family from marauders and quickly became known for her sharp eye and quick reflexes. This actually reflects in her having sniper eye, so a bit like Connor. She can shoot twice as fast with ranged weapons, and she's also desert born, so she is tolerant to cold and heat. So she has an increase of 10 and -10 to her tolerances, and she's also vegetarian. So you can see we have our survivors, and we will have a look at everything and get a little build going in a little bit. But first I want to check all of this out. I will also mention there are new achievements that have been added to the game. But you can see here we already have some new species to compete with. The long-tailed reptile, which looks a bit like a dinosaur. It's kind of terrifying. But I think they are, I want to say, not aggressive, at least initially. These new camel-like humped animals which we will be hunting, no doubt, for food. Also, with it being the desert, there are only 2 seasons. So you have the dry season and the wet season. I have not got to the wet season yet, so we're going to have to play our way through to get to that. But with that, I'm sure it will come up with its own difficulties. We'll have crops that grow faster in some seasons and don't in another. So we're looking at the wet season for that. Anyway, let's get into it, and then hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of the changes to the building as well. The first thing that we've researched are the juice leaf. Now, we can harvest the juice leaf, and from that we can actually make sweet syrup and healing balm. And I do believe it is also edible as well. So if we look over here, we're going to need to collect some, but you can see next to the butter squash, is it? I can't remember. There looks to be the exact same icon as the juicy juice leaf here. Let's just go see. Yeah, here. Some of these are harvestable, so we will get that on the go ASAP. And here we are. We have now researched the barrel cactus. Now, that will give us the cactus fruits, which can be eaten raw or cooked. And that there is the Chaos Moon. We've not experienced anything strange just yet, but if we do see something, I will let you know. The next thing we've unlocked is harvesting of distasteful flowers from the tall cacti. We can also plant these. It will give you food, but it's not really anything that will be fun to eat. We've now researched the Tecatli. The long-tailed reptile has peculiar markings and horns resembling a crown. Next we have the Dromada, a new camel-like species. From my observations, it's a peaceful herbivore which will most likely avoid confrontations and run away from a threat. It's quite big, so it should provide a decent amount of meat. Its hide also seems valuable. And now it is time for the tea ball tree. So this will allow us to harvest tea balls and allow us to make boiled tea. So that's a good one. That's instead of the coffee, I presume. Still haven't found a way to create antibiotics yet. And the next thing that we have is the branched cactus. Now, this is it, finally. So we have the cactus slime. This comes from the branched cactus, and it will allow us to produce antibiotics. As you can see, we have researched the concrete runes. This is really important. And if we now go across to research, we now have concrete fortifications available, providing we produce cement and we produce some metal alloys. So we're going to try and get to that next for you guys. Now you can see they have considerably more integrity versus the wooden ones, 3 times as much, but they do require 10 concrete or cement, in order to produce. Along with this, we also have a metal gate, which has 900 integrity, and we also have the concrete tower, which also is 750 integrity. Now this is actually pretty good for the desert environment because there's so much rock around. It's going to be much easier to produce the concrete that we need in order to build proper fortifications from the likes of all the aliens and the alien attacks. And here's one of the new events that we have just triggered, which is the dust storm. So during this, survivors will feel unhappy and have decreased movement speed and manipulation efficiency if outside during this disaster. Solar panels work at half efficiency. And what can I say? It is pretty dusty. So we haven't been able to actually build the whole compound yet. I would absolutely love to, but it does require a lot of work, and I would very much like to jump into this on Insane and see what it's like. But you can see the new towers are pretty cool looking and much stronger in terms of integrity, and will definitely defend you against enemies pretty well once you've got cement on the go. I just wonder if they're going to allow us some system in which to make the later game items easier to produce, whether that comes to automation or better benches like we have with the electric desks. Unfortunately, we're about to get totally owned by a selection of these, and I thought we should just mention the last change that I have noticed, which is the wet season. So though it's not raining at the moment, it does frequently rain, and it does bring unhappiness to people when it is raining. But the other thing is the boost to crop growth. So as you can see here, it's an average growth of 127. It's actually closer to 190% through most of the wet season when it's raining. But we are absolutely going to get owned by this. So I'm going to leave it there. If you did enjoy this video, please do drop a thumbs up. And obviously, if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse Patreons, James Irwin, Firefless, and Trebor, as well as our Lunars, the Calamity, Ben, and Star, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is the Sultran Husky. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.